we are firm believers in the potential of Spotify going forward.
And it's interesting because right now Spotify is the leader in the streaming music subscriptions place, but there is growing competition. When you look at Apple, which many say is growing faster than Spotify, Apple Music, you also have Amazon and Google and Pandora, all these different players. How concerned are you about competition?
Well, I think it's important to see that also Apple, for instance, they are very strong in their own device ecosystem, but very weak outside of it. And I think it's been a part of the Spotify strategy from the outset to be pervasive and basically work in all kinds of devices. And with the Apple's global market share of about 20%, that actually limits naturally their reach. And I think if you look at the other competitors, Amazon is very, very strong also in the US, but much weaker elsewhere. So I think Spotify has the benefit of being more global and also working across devices in a way that none other does.
This was a big part of our debate yesterday when on the listing day. What's the path they choose, right? Going for breadth, going for reach, or trying to jack up the percentage of subs that actually pay? What is the right move?
Well, I think the model has been fine-tuned for several years now, and the idea is that when a new user comes on board, the high likelihood of that user being first a free user and then over time converting to a paid user, that is a very, very predictable path, and really? Also something that where the people in the growth team at Spotify, they work very diligently on having that even further.
So someone onboards and they can tell quickly whether or not they're going to be a consistent paying customer.
Yeah. And I think the pattern, which also was described in the listing documents, that the likelihood of someone to become a subscriber over time is like more than 50%. Yeah.
It seems like video is going to be the new battleground for Spotify and its competitors. You had a Taylor Swift exclusive this weekend. How important are these new formats, whether it's podcasts or video, for Spotify's growth?
I think just having music will not be a differentiator going forward, and having unique content in the form of maybe videos, exclusive interviews and podcasts and such is probably an important part of continue to differentiate in the way that they've done up until now.
What about becoming an actual content creator? I mean, there's so much room out there now with the record company landscape kind of decimated in the last decade or so. I mean, I can't imagine that Spotify or even an Apple Music or one of these other streaming services wouldn't be considering becoming the record company, essentially.
I think it's pretty clear also looking at the listing documents that the strategy is about creating a marketplace where you can actually, as an artist, reach Spotify directly. So it's not so much, I think, Spotify being original content creator rather than creating a platform for the artist to go directly to Spotify and disintermediating some of the big players in the between that has basically dominated the industry for the past 70 years.
I want to get your take on where the stock's trading right now. It's at, I think, 139 last I checked.
Yeah.
The reference price had been 132, then it bounced up into the high 160s yesterday. All over the place, given the fact that it was a direct listing. It's sort of been seen as a grand experiment here at the New York Stock Exchange. Does this price make sense to you?
Well, I think it was also very well known and discussed frequently that the direct listing route was probably inherently much more volatile. And since none of the founders at least had signaled that they wanted to sell at this point in time, I think they didn't really care about whether it was high or low volatility. And it was something that really worked for them, and we supported that going forward. Then if it's the right price currently, I mean, market is always the best judge of that.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.